In 2010, when I arrived to the station, there was a lot of things happening in the market. In Telemundo Denver, as a Spanish language station, was doing okay. And we saw an opportunity in the market for us to reevaluate our position. And we decided that it was time for us to really engage with the community and really service them with everything that we had. At that point, we were a very small operation. There was only like 7 or 8 employees. And we knew that by engaging the community, we were going to be able to understand their needs and the opportunities as well. Because for us, the most important thing was to serve the community, not so much to run the operation itself. It's how can we engage the community to understand so we can actually create a strategy. And that's what we did. We found first that health and education was key for our community. They needed it to see us. We were not visible. Second of all, information about those key pillars, but more. And third as well is for them to believe that the station was there to help them. And I don't think that we were doing either one of them. We were trying with the limited resources. So we created the strategy. One of them is being out there in the market, not only us as leaders, but the employees. Second, create more events, partnerships, so we could be in front of the community for them to see us, touch us, understand who we were. And the most important one, to launch a newscast. And we did it in partnership with our affiliate station, the NBC KUSA station. We did it for 3 years. And we launched the newscast with 3.5 employees. Of course, with the technical and amazing support of KUSA and their team. Without them, we would not have been able to do it. So we will always be grateful. After 3 years, we did so well that actually we were able to just remove our operation from the news standpoint. We built this state-of-the-art facility, and then we launched 3 more newscasts. So now, in 2018, we are actually broadcasting 4 live newscasts. We have almost between 45 and 50 employees, and we have almost 47 in partnership, and then events that we launch as well, almost 47 events. In addition to it as well, we have our website, which is localized as well. We broadcast on our website our entire programming. We have the rights for the Olympics, for the World Cup, for the English Premier League as well. We have partnerships here with organizations such as the American Diabetes Association, Susan G. Komen, 9 Health, Alzheimer's Association, churches, community centers, Latina Safe House, City of Aurora, City of Denver, DPS. And with this, I'm trying to say is that yes, the operation is growing, but we could not have done it without understanding the community and partnering it up with, or having partnerships with organizations that were really working with the community. And we got to a wonderful place now that the Colorado Broadcasters Association just surprised us with the Station of the Year award, regardless of language, which is unheard of. So we're extremely excited and proud. But all this is due to 3 things. Yes, the leadership that we can bring here, the human asset, our employees, and I think that the community, working with the community and for the community, is what is driving us. If we lose that sight, then we will be getting into a situation in which we will get comfortable, and we don't want to. I always want to think that we are the underdog.
You mentioned the importance of the partnerships you forged with various groups, not even just in the media. If somebody is, reevaluating, let's say you're an established station, but you're reevaluating those partnerships because you've gotten comfortable, you've gotten complacent, how would you recommend somebody do that? Or whether it's a business that needs to reinvigorate their partnerships and re-present themselves to the community, or another one that's just starting out as you were. Do you have any tips, or how would you recommend they start the process?
I think that it's a really important question, because that's how we did it when we got here, when there was only 7 employees. Is first we need to understand what do we have. We need to understand where we're heading. What do we want to accomplish? And third is that who do we want to communicate with? Who do we want to serve? Is it a consumer that is going to buy my good, or is someone who I'm going to serve? Depending on your strategy. And it's key as well in this market. I work in different markets. I work in Chicago and Dallas, Houston, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and other places. This is such a unique market. The composition of the Hispanic community here is amazing. And I think this market allows you to really dig really deep and understand what I just said, but understand as well that there's so many more businesses and organizations like yours who are willing to work with you, who are in the same situation as you, that if you reach out to them, they'll be willing to extend their hand and say, you know what, tell me how can I do this, or how can we work together and we can benefit. And I think that that's the best opportunity, or the biggest opportunity in this market. I think that organizations are doing it, but we're not doing it enough. And I think leaders should just kind of take their guard down and open themselves to say, it's okay for us to say, you know what, I need to partner up with this one. They are the expert on this. We can complement each other. But that depends on the strategy and how far are you willing to go to open your organization, your operation, for someone else to come in and complement what you're doing.
Well, and you already mentioned as well that you guys obviously have a vested interest in representing the Hispanic community. Responding to their needs is what has allowed you guys to grow. Do you think other media outlets, not necessarily just television, but since that's the one you understand best, do you think that considering the market here and the way the community and the Hispanic community figures into the media market here, as you were talking about, it's a unique opportunity, do you think enough media outlets and groups are really appreciate the market here and appreciate how important it is to incorporate the Hispanic community into their outreach?
You know what, it is a really key question, because I can say that, for example, leaders such as, and I'm going to say it, someone who's right in front of me now, like Anna Smith and some other leaders who have been doing that for many years. This is not something new. It's just, I think that finally, based on the environment, on the political environment as well, on the economics, on the opportunities, maybe in some other demographics, they've reached a plateau when it comes to a business proposition, that they're saying, where else can we reach? How else can we, because all I'm doing is just switching dollars left to right, from this one to this one to try. Now we have the digital social media platforms as well, and out of home, the anywhere, everywhere, the millennials. So yes, the Hispanic community is an amazing opportunity. When you have 21% of the total population in Colorado being Hispanics, 30% in Denver, how can you say no? How can you not pay attention to them? So the opportunity is there, and I think that the organizations are doing it. Media outlets are doing it as well. And I think businesses are saying, it's time for us to pay attention. Not that they didn't want to do it. Maybe we as well, we need to take responsibility as media outlets. Maybe we didn't do a good job in introducing them to our community, the power of our community. How can we complement them? I don't want to blame it on them. I think we all have to share the piece that we didn't do maybe enough, or we were not ready to present it in a certain way. I think now we're doing it, and it's paying off. It's taken so many years. It's not just done in 5 years. It's been almost 20, 30 years on the works. A lot of people behind us have done it, so we could not have done that without them. We're just being able to kind of capitalize on a lot of work from ours and from our strategy and investments and the mission and vision that we have.
And so in forging a relationship with the Hispanic community as a media outlet, what are the ways, there's people trying to capitalize it and marketing directly to them, and
I think that as well, and they need to understand what is it that tickles them, what moves them, what are their needs, what do they like, do they feel comfortable talking Spanish, English, where they come from as well, where do they go shopping, do they go to the church, do they vote, do they engage in politics, do they like to read? All I say is, yes, they do all that, like any other consumer. All you have to do is reach out to those who understand. Whether you are a leader who doesn't speak Spanish but understands the community, guess what? Work with them. If you have someone who speaks Spanish and is a leader who can help you connect with them, do it as well. But there's several leaders here who do not specifically, they don't need to speak Spanish in order to communicate with them. Just to give an example, when we ask someone who has been here for 10, 15 years, let's say 20 years, we ask them one question sometimes. We say, when you are doing your math in your brain, are you doing it in English or in Spanish? We ask them, when you are praying, do you pray in your brain, in your mind, in English or in Spanish? 9 or 8 out of 10 are going to tell you in Spanish. Even though they speak English, 90% of the time. Is what? What is it that connects them back to their home, to their roots, to their culture? And that's what Spanish language media is doing. We have, when you run an ad with us, has 4 times more impact than if you were to run it in English language. We're not saying that they're not acculturized, that our English language stations are not reaching to Hispanics. They're doing it. We are doing it. We go back and forth. But what is it that is going to help them make the decision? It's the language. It is the culture. Who understands them? Who talks to them in the language and makes them think that way? Not so much behave that way, right? So I think that ask those questions to anyone that you can. Ask them if you see a Hispanic. Just out of nowhere, ask them. You pray, you do your math, your finances. When you're about to buy a car, are you thinking in English? I don't do it. I do it in Spanish. And I've been here 20 years.
You've been here 20 years. You've been running the station for quite a while. Where do you see the future of just Hispanic media, Telemundo, the Denver area market? What do you see as the keys to success going forward?
I think is that what we're seeing is that the engagement from businesses acknowledging the power, the buying power of the Hispanic community is the first step, and we're seeing it. So I think it's going to continue growing. So that is going to help the landscape of media outlets and media dollars available shift. Why? Because then you're not going to have to focus only on one demographic. You're going to have several options. And it's not only us as well, because you're going to have the Asian community, African American community as well. So we're complementing. But the numbers, I go back, the numbers are not going to change. That's the simple math formula. 31% of total population in the Denver metro, Hispanics. DPS is not exactly the number that I'm going to give you, but it's close to 65% of total students in DPS considered Hispanics. How can you not pay attention? Just understand it. So I think that it's not so much the media outlet, how we're going to adjust, is how can we all understand that the Hispanic community is going to continue growing. It's not going to change. It's not going to change, and we're going to continue spending, we're going to continue growing, and we are continue as well being a voice, not only in the community, but in the political environment.
Wonderful. Those are all the questions I have. Is there anything you were hoping I would ask you that I didn't?
I think that not so much one question is that I think that to give myself the opportunity to thank all of those who have always believed in us, not so much in Andres because I'm just a part of the company. We're part of NBC Universal and Comcast, but it's the human asset. And we want to thank organizations, partners, leaders, businesses who continue trusting us with their loyalty, their support, their truth as well, and partners such as Anna Smith as well. We love you so much. We're people who really, really believe in us. And it's not about being exclusive, it's just about being inclusive. So let's all continue working. I think that's what we want to do. So thank you all. Gracias.